What's going on, guys? Mr. Loud over here, and I am swamped. I am backed up. I have so many product reviews to do, so we're just taking it one by one. And so today I want to introduce to you a brand new company. A company by the name of Yamatic reached out to me. They're more well known on Amazon, and they're more well known with their foam cannons, pressure washer pumps, hoses, and all that. And so they reached out to me and said, hey, would you be willing to review some of our products? And I said, sure, why not? Send it out. If I like it, we can go ahead and move forward from there. I haven't used it yet, and so I'm going to show you my initial reactions and kind of explain my thought process as I unbox, as I open up, and as I set up my thought process to this product, and we'll see if this works out or makes or breaks our situation. So guys, I hope you enjoy this video. All right, so Yamatic, when they reached out to me, they said, hey, we got some pressure washer hoses here. Which one do you like the most? And so I'm not familiar with the company. I've never really used any of their stuff here. So I just looked at what seemed to be the best quality and said, go ahead and send it over here. And I believe it was somewhere around $54 or something like that. I'll go ahead and I'll leave a link to their different, link to this hose as well as the prices and all that. And so, I said, this is the one that I seem to like the most. And they said, not a problem. Yeah, this looks great for you, and we'll go ahead and send it out. And so they send it in this box here, and it's nice and wrapped up like most pressure washer hoses are. And instantly what I notice is if you're used to like Uberflex and like Flexzilla and those very, very flexible hoses, this isn't one of those. By looking at this, this is very plasticky, and I mean, that may not be bad, I mean, when you look at the more intense, the more durable pressure washer hoses, they are not very, very flexible rubbers. They're the double braided or even the single braided hoses. They're just more of a standard hose, and so this kind of resembles more of what you would see like out of a Ryobi box or out of the box of any pressure washer that you kind of just purchase at your local parts store, Home Depot or whatever. And so this is that plasticky feeling. So this hose is a 50-foot hose. It's rated for a max PSI of 3,200 PSI, and it's linked at 220 BAR. Of course it says stuff like don't leave against a hot surface, but any pressure washer hose is going to say that. I think that's just general precautions. And so instantly looking at it, it's actually it seems to be very durable. Now there's this threading, this braiding right here, which is pretty cool because obviously it's going to go ahead and make sure that the end of the hose where it's really important, you don't want there any issues, especially getting close to the end pieces. You don't want there to really be any issues with breaking at anywhere close to here. You want to make sure there's a good seal and that you're working with good stuff here. And so instantly, like, the quality feels good. It's heavy, but not too heavy. It definitely, I made the comment that it kind of resembles a little bit of the hoses that you would see when you open your Ryobi pressure washer box. And I'm not saying that this is cheap like that. I'm saying that it's that hardish feeling. It's that kind of that plasticky feeling. I don't even know if plasticky is the right word, but that it just feels more sturdy. And so, like even this is definitely more flexible, right? But when you look at this end of the hose, which I'm not quite sure as to why they had it set up where they had the black threading and braiding towards this end, but not towards this end. I'm guessing that must be just because it's to show what side is actually going to go into the pressure washer, which one's going to go into the handle, all that. So, but it definitely flexes, and it seems to do pretty good. If I flex it and bend it, it crinkles a little bit, but yeah, I could feel where I just bent it. I would be a little worried. I'm used to the Flexzilla, the Uberflex. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and turn it off, and I'm going to kind of put both. I have a Flexzilla, I believe it is, or an Uberflex. I don't know, whatever the blue one is, right? But I'm going to pull that out real quick, and I'm going to show you the difference between the two. So right here I have an Uberflex. This is what I've been using, a 50-foot, and it definitely flexes. You really don't see the where you bent it. You really don't see, like, there's really not much of a residual marking. It kind of holds up very well. Now, on the flip side to that, when I look at this hose right here, and then I look at this and I feel the two, this one definitely, yes, it flexes more, but I would be afraid, I'm afraid that this is a thinner lining, and I would be afraid that this would actually break quicker. I'm over here bouncing into the camera and whatnot. And so, you know, the difference between that and this is definitely a bit, actually, is it heavier or lighter? I feel like this one's just a tad bit heavier, and so that's going to definitely affect the durability of it. I've used a lot of those double braided, very high durability, high quality pressure washer hoses, and they're very, very heavy. Now you can't really bend them, and so you know, when it comes down to it, whatever the membrane is on the outside, or whatever the coating, the plastic, or whatever the covering is of the actual hose, if there is one, if it's two different components, you know, it definitely, when you bend it, it definitely is going to keep a crease, but it does still bend. It's still bending, and it feels like it's not going to go crazy. Like if you're walking around a vehicle, it's not going to rip or tear. Of course, there's ways of getting around that, but you know, when it comes down to it, it seems like it's holding up okay. I don't know, I'm just kind of throwing it around and playing around with it just to see kind of how it works. But the simple fact that I just want to know, is this durable? So I'm bending it again, and I'm trying to really bend it. Now, obviously, you're not doing that with your hoses here. And yes, so there you feel the crease, and then the crease flattens out. So that's a good thing to know. You know, and obviously there are different models from Yamatic. Right, Yamatic? Yeah, from Yamatic. There's different models, and they have the cheaper, the more expensive. Then this is the most expensive model that they have. And it seems like, you know, when you compare like the ends, the fittings over at the end, they seem pretty comparable. There's definitely a difference in design. This one is heavier. This one seems to be a little bit more durable and a little bit of a heavier piece. And so, you know, I look at it and I'm like, okay, well, is this a step up from what I already have? Is this a step up? Is this a step up in quality? Pricing is fairly comparable. I believe that this pricing is less than the Flexzilla, but the Uberflex and the Flexzilla are pretty much the same hoses, right? But this is a little bit less expensive. It's like basically around the same price as the Uberflex. And so with that being said, I'm going to hook it to my pressure washer, hook it up to the gun, and I'm going to see how does this work. Is it holding up well? I'm going to move around the vehicle with it and kind of rub it up against the tires, and I'm going to put it through some torture, and we'll kind of see how this works out. All right, so I'm a duck. As I was saying earlier, I was like, what in the world is this and all that? So here's the deal. And a lot of you are probably looking at me like, what the heck is wrong with you? I know there's a lot of people out there that review hoses and review equipment. My biggest thing is chemicals and products. So this is actually a new thing for me. And I've always worked with an electric pressure washer. So this hasn't really made or broke my world. I wasn't even aware this was a thing, right? So this right here, this black piece I talked about, the end of it, this is actually a sheath that goes around and it makes the end of the pressure washer heat resistant against mufflers and anything that would, you know, if you're working with a gas pressure washer, this is actually a protection to the hose, a heat resistant protectant. So actually that's a pretty neat, that's a pretty neat feature right there. That being said, a couple other things that I didn't mention. The plastic on the outside is some special type of plastic, whatever, but basically it's about 3 times stronger than normal plastic, and so that really helps with the durability of it. The product is flexible in conditions and weathers anywhere from 23 degrees Fahrenheit to about 140 degrees Fahrenheit, so that's good. It's still flexible, and the company raves about how it's very flexible, easy to use, especially in winter conditions. And so quite simply, of course, if you have a quick connector, this is going to be a lot easier for you. I don't have a quick connect because apparently I'm a loser, but we'll just go ahead and we're going to plug it in. We're going to get everything worked out, and we're going to get it set up to try out. I'm going to, you know, plug in my pressure washer. You know, it plugs in normal like any other. It twists on fairly easily. Not much of a problem here. Yep, connected, and it's definitely a tight connection here. I'm just working with a cheap 1800 PSI pressure washer, 1.2 GPM. I would love to get a whole professional setup, but as you can see, I'm working out of the back of a Scion XB. If this is your first time seeing the channel, yeah, I'm working out of a Scion XB here, so nothing glamorous over here. So you work with what you got, and these are space efficient. Next, I have my pressure washer, the gun, the handle, and I have a swivel on it just because it makes it easier to work with. Now, the cool thing with these types of, hoses and these really easy to work with, it kind of minimizes the need for a swivel, but I like having the swivel. I like having that ability to, maneuver and be a lot easier. Now, this goes on very easily. Actually, it goes on easier than the Uberflex, so that's good to know. And seems to be a fairly tight seal. I could probably put some plumber's tape on there, some white tape, just to make sure that there's no leakage or anything like that, but it goes on well. We're gonna see how it works. Is there an increase or a decrease in pressure from what I'm used to? All right, we got everything set up here, pressure washer set up, hose is ready to go, everything's put in order, and I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of spray out of the pressure washer, just spray down, see how does it feel. Does it feel any different than normal? And I'm gonna get that cardboard box off the top there. So let's go ahead and let's do that. All right, here we go. So it feels like the pressure is comparable or the same as any other pressure washer hose, right? This hose is not doing anything to enhance pressure or water outflow. It's not doing anything to minimize it either. And so, whatever setup you have, this hose is definitely going to operate very consistently with the output of your setup here. But I got a foam can in. Let's foam it down a little bit just to kind of see how it works here. I'm using Pearl Auto shampoo, and I mixed just a little bit of what I had left of the DIY Details Incredible Suds just for the heck of it, right? Just because, why not? So the output is very consistent with, what you've all, whatever hose you have as far as a performance standpoint, output, water output, pressure output, it's very consistent. This hose is not going to get in your way. I tell you what, it's actually a pretty good mixture of soap here. I kind of like that. But it's a very, very similar output. I'm gonna go ahead, rinse it off here. I'm gonna kind of walk around the car a little bit. Now, I did walk over to the other side, and yes, the hose did catch under the tire. That's not a problem. You kind of figure that these hoses are going to catch under the tire. But with the material, or the outer jacket, I believe they called it, with the material, it's gonna hold up better. It is more durable in that sense, and I do feel a little bit more security with it. But I'm gonna go ahead and rinse off. Just gonna run over the hose. I'll take the car. I'm gonna run over the hose just for the sake of it and just to see, is it gonna hold up, So let's just go ahead and let's rinse. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna do is, as you can see, I have the hose under the tire of the vehicle. A lot of times in a mobile detailing scenario, you'll be working the vehicle's a couple parking spots over from the car, you know, from your vehicle, and so there's space, and every once in a while you'll have trucks and vehicles that end up running over your hose. I can count time and time again how many times where I've had trucks, big semis, literally just run over my pressure washer hose as I am working on it. And obviously my vehicle here is not a semi-truck, but it's important to know, is this hose gonna hold up against being run over? So I'm gonna run it over a few times, we'll take a look at it, and we'll go from there. All right, let's take a look at it. So, I don't feel the marks where it got run over. I just feel dirt. Everything seems fine. But the real test is, let's turn back on the pressure washer and let's see if there's any holes. So the pressure washer's on, nothing's leaking out. It seemed to have held up, and I don't even see the marks where the tires were run over. So I don't know. Now, of course, I wasn't looking at the camera when I was trying to move the tires back and forth here. So I mean, I just kind of felt it and see if it went from there. But so far, it seems like it's holding up well. And there you guys have it. That was the Yamatic all-weather, high industrial, kink-resistant pressure washer hose, right? Guys, I gotta say, I am, in my life in detailing, I've used quite a few different products here. I've used the heavy-duty single-braided ropes, right, that you'll see a lot of pressure washer companies using, and I've had some of those break on me in a month or two. I've used the double-braided ones that for 50 feet, it was 160 bucks. I've used some of the highest quality ones, and they just were very cumbersome to work with, you know. Of course, they serve their purpose, but I've used some of those. I've used some of the cheapest in the market, from straight out of the Ryobi box, and you know, of course, I've been using the Uberflex, like I mentioned, for some time. And I have to say, if I'm going to put, so far the Uberflex has been my favorite, right? If I'm going to put the Yamatic next to the Uberflex, I'm going to put the Yamatic on top for a few reasons. One is the jacket on top of it, right? This jacket, or the material that they actually make it out of, it's 3 times stronger than standard plastics, right? And it's 3 times stronger than the standard hoses that, you know, of course, only the test of time will really tell. But I feel like it's much sturdier, much more durable. And yes, when you bend it and flex it as it comes back, it does show a little crease, and then it goes back to normal. So it does take some time to go back. But with that being said, it does feel, I feel more confident with it. I feel more comfortable. And when it comes down to it, peace of mind is what's most important for a detailer. Of course, the test of time always tells whether the product is going to be sturdy enough and it's going to be worth it or not. But I feel very comfortable with this. It seems like the fittings are fine. They do a good job. They fit nice and snug. I feel comfortable. There's no leakage or anything, and they're very easy to place on. Of course, I ran over it with the vehicle, right? And no pops. No, there's no popping in the hoses. It was holding up. And it, most importantly, it does the job, right? For $50, for less than 50 bucks, you're gonna get a hose that does the job. It's gonna accomplish what it needs to accomplish, and it's not going to get in the way of what you're trying to do. You're using a pressure washer, and this hose is not going to decrease pressure. It's not going to decrease output or water flow. It's going to get the job done. Like I said before, if you have a gas pressure washer that you're working with here, it comes with, let's see if I can get repositioned here. Look at that. That was a new move. Sorry about that, Yamatic. I'm trying here. But you see this right here, this sheath over here. I didn't realize what it was before. It's actually for heat resistance, right? If you have a gas pressure washer, this will come in handy, especially because you have this pressure washer hanging down. You never know where the hose input is going to be in relation to the pressure washer. And so if you're close to mufflers or whatever, or even in my situation, for some strange odd reason, I decide to put this pressure washer on top of my generator here, and I want to go ahead and, you know, and this hose is hanging and dangling down, the exhaust isn't going to destroy it like it would a standard hose, regardless of the company. So that's a good thing to know about. But guys, I do like the Yamatic here, and I'm going to keep the Uberflex on hand. I have the hose. I mean, I have it and it works, right? But I am going to leave the Yamatic on right now, and I'm going to be using that for the meantime. And so, guys, I spoke to Yamatic. They want to go ahead and offer a discount code to you guys as a thank you for buying and purchasing the product. So I'm going to go ahead and leave a discount code in the description box below, and that's only available to those who actually have stayed all the way at the end and have watched the video and have actually clicked on the description box. So that's a kind of a plus for you guys tuning in. Well, guys, there are more features and there are more things to talk about Yamatic as a company. I would tell you, go ahead and check them out on Amazon and check out their Amazon store and even their website. They've got a lot of products to offer, and I think that's a pretty neat company. If you have pressure washers, they've got pumps, and you know, if you have they have a ton of different things, foam cannons and couplings and quick connects, and they have all those different things. And so I think it's a pretty neat company, and I'm glad that they reached out to me. So thank you so much, Yamatic, for reaching out to me and trusting me to make this review. I hope it was beneficial to you, as I believe it will be beneficial to all my viewers and subscribers here. But guys, Mr. Ladd here signing out. Thank you so much for tuning into the channel. If you like this video as well as any other videos on my channel, feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, wax the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful day.